Well, an ancient discovery is shedding light on the early church. The Megiddo mosaic dates back nearly 2,000 years.
Well, an ancient discovery shedding light on the early church. The Megiddo mosaic dates back nearly 2,000 years. Most people don't realize that some of the earliest Christians didn't worship in grand cathedrals, but in secret spaces. So what if one of these hidden churches was buried under a high-security prison for nearly 1,800 years? That's exactly what happened in Israel when a routine expansion of Megiddo prison led to the discovery of an ancient Christian mosaic that possibly dated back to the 3rd century. Some experts are calling it the biggest biblical find since the Dead Sea Scrolls. But what secrets does it hold about the early followers of Jesus? Let's find out. The discovery at Megiddo Prison in 2005. What started as a routine expansion project at Megiddo Prison in northern Israel turned into one of the most significant archaeological discoveries in modern history. At the time, the Israeli Prison Service had planned to construct a new wing for inmates, and this required excavation work on the prison grounds. As construction crews dug into the earth, they uncovered something no one could have expected or even imagined. It was a carefully designed mosaic floor that had been buried beneath layers of dirt and time. In case you are wondering what a mosaic is, come with me. A mosaic is a unique form of art where small pieces of colored stone, glass, or other materials known as tesserae are carefully arranged to create scenes of nature, geometric pattern, or inscriptions. This artistic technique was widely used in ancient times, especially during the Roman period, to decorate homes, temples, public buildings, and places of worship. Mosaics were particularly common in archaeological sites in the era of the New Testament, as they served as aesthetic expressions of cultural or religious beliefs. Seeing the unusual nature of the discovery, prison officials immediately stopped construction and alerted the Israel Antiquities Authority. A team of archaeologists led by Dr. Yotam arrived on site to investigate. They carefully brushed away centuries of dust and debris to uncover an elaborate mosaic floor. To everyone's surprise, it was unbelievably well preserved given how long it had been in existence. After a lot of deliberation, it was agreed that the mosaic had been there for 1,800 years. The patterns, symbols, and inscriptions hinted at something extraordinary, but it wasn't until they translated the Greek text that they realized the true importance of their discovery. Among the inscriptions on the mosaic was a phrase that took the archaeologists by surprise. It read, "God, Jesus Christ." This was a huge discovery, as Christianity was still an underground movement in the 3rd century AD and was often practiced in secrecy due to Roman persecution. The presence of this inscription suggested that the site had once been a house church where some of the earliest followers of Christianity gathered in secret to worship. Another intriguing inscription referenced a woman named Arpas, identified as a donor. It read, "The God-loving Arpas has offered the table to God Jesus Christ as a memorial." The mention of a table instead of an altar provided further evidence that this was not a traditional church, but rather a place for communal worship. This strongly suggested early Christian rituals and possibly an early form of the Eucharist. But that was not all. The mosaic also featured a fish, one of the earliest symbols of Christianity, which further confirmed that this was a place where believers secretly practiced their faith. At the time, the surprising discovery challenged existing historical timelines that suggested Christianity may not have been more widespread in the region earlier than previously believed. For the prison administration, this discovery presented both an opportunity and a hurdle that needed to be jumped. You see, Megiddo Prison was an active high-security facility, and the newly uncovered site was directly beneath an area designated for construction. Warden Hannah Bark and other prison officials had to decide whether to continue building over the site or halt construction to allow further excavation. They recognized the global historical and religious significance of the discovery. Thus, the Israeli authorities quickly decided to protect the site. Construction was paused, and archaeologists were allowed to fully investigate the ancient mosaic. As news of the discovery spread, historians, religious scholars, and archaeologists from around the world took an interest in Megiddo. The idea that an early Christian worship site had been preserved undisturbed for nearly 2 millennia fascinated experts and caused debates about its implications. Some even suggested that the site might alter our understanding of how Christianity spread in the ancient world. Surprisingly, some prison inmates were involved in the excavation efforts under close Supervision for many, this was a rare and profound experience. Some reportedly felt a spiritual connection to the site. Remember, Megiddo was a maximum security prison that housed all types of hardened criminals. This experience led many to find their faith and believe in a higher being. The Megiddo mosaic was created by an artist named Brew. Unlike a simple laborer, Brew was a skilled craftsman who approached his work with great precision and artistry. The level of care and dedication he put into this mosaic is evident in the density and arrangement of the tesserae, as they form a visually stunning composition. What makes the Megiddo mosaic truly special, however, are the three rectangular sections containing Greek inscriptions, and a central circular design featuring two fish. The choice of imagery, or rather the deliberate lack of certain images, reveals the religious sentiments of those who used this space for worship in ancient art. The inclusion or omission of human and animal figures often carried religious significance. The hall discovered at Megiddo prison dates back to the 3rd century AD, which makes it one of the oldest known Christian gathering places ever found. What makes this site even more intriguing is its unusual location. It was built inside a Roman military encampment. This means that early Christian worship was not only happening in secret, but may have included Roman soldiers themselves, a surprising revelation, considering that Christianity was still illegal in the empire at the time. Historical records indicate that the site was part of a larger Roman military base that housed the Legio Sixferata, also known as the 6th Ironclad Legion. This elite legion had been stationed in Judea following the Jewish revolt of 132 to 136 AD. The presence of a Christian worship site within such a stronghold suggests that Christianity had quietly begun to spread within the Roman military ranks long before Emperor Constantine made it the official religion of the empire in the 4th century. One of the biggest clues to this military Christian connection is found in the mosaic inscription itself. The name Ges, a centurion, appears as one of the benefactors who contributed to the mosaic's creation. The fact that a Roman military officer donated funds for a Christian worship space speaks volumes about the early influence of Christianity within the Roman army. This contradicts the traditional belief that all Roman soldiers were loyal to the empire's pagan gods. Instead, it suggests that some soldiers, perhaps even in secret, had begun embracing the teachings of Jesus Christ. Between 284 and 305 AD, this man launched one of the most aggressive campaigns against Christians in history. He was known as the Great Persecutor because his orders included destroying Christian places of worship, burning scriptures, and executing believers who refused to renounce their faith. If the Megiddo worship hall was still in use during his reign, it is possible that it was either shut down by Roman authorities or abandoned out of fear. Right now you might be wondering, why was this Christian site abandoned? Historical records indicate that by the 4th century AD the Christian community